See, this is why I need y'all to subscribe so I can get monetized. So I can stop looking for work, and I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, I'm just kidding, cause I already know I'm probably only gonna break like 3 views. I'm a long way away from monetization, which is fine. But I know that the shit I go through multiple times a day, different types of shit each day. I can't keep quiet about it. And even if only 3 people see it, you should value yourself as one of those 3 people. So if I get 3 views, I'll value those 3 views, because that's 3 motherfuckers who could take my perspective forward regardless of how they do it. And considering what my title will be, you're probably someone who has your own opinion. And I will be glad to agree or challenge your opinion on this matter. Even if you're just one person. And like, I quit my job. I had a lot of money saved. I still have money saved. Not as much as I did when I quit, but a job I was working with from home. And it's like a stable job representing Apple. But I got tired of the gaslighting, and I know the word gaslighting, you guys are like, oh, don't use that word because everyone uses that word. Okay, so fine, I'll use contradicting, being hypocritical, double standards, oxymoronic, nonsensical, stressful, annoying. So I'm just tired of being gaslight by a team lead who does not know what they're doing. It's like you're a 40-year-old fat ass porn addicted Trekkie.
Lord.
I'm most positive. And you have hair like hanging out of your ass crack. I am also positive about that. You smell like a swamp. You're a grown man in your 40s. I'm positive about that. You live with your parents. You actually mentioned that. And you have the nerve to also be shit at your job, which everyone says. But you then wanna be an asshole about it and power trip. I'm gonna cuss you out. And then I'm gonna threaten to go to the Department of Labor.
Oh,
Which I'm not
Lord.
gonna do because that's like a headache. Plus, I don't go to the government for help for anything, even if I need it or qualify for it. I'm not gonna go make a complaint. Fill out forms, apply for anything, like unemployment. Whatever. I'm not gonna do that. But they don't know that. And they think that I will do that because I meet the demographic of people who are stereotyped to do that, which is female person of color who's working class. So they would assume that I'm being serious. I will go to the Department of Labor. But I'm not going to. Because like I've never done that, and they make it difficult, like people say so much shit about people on welfare. But actually really, really, really smart. Because they know. They know how to get the welfare in the first place. That's not easy to get. I actually know a lot of people who had great careers who are on welfare, and they have all the information you need to get it. And they're like once highly paid like white men, and who have
Oh,
given me the
Lord.
lowdown on how to get welfare. And I'm like, I appreciate it. But that sounds like a lot. Like as far as SSI, I knew a retired cop was able to get SSI. Not really sure how that works or anything, or why he's a retired cop who needs SSI. I don't even think he was retired. I think he got fired.
Oh, Lord.
Or he quit. I'm not even sure how it happened, but he applied for it months before he actually stopped. And by the time he actually left the force, he finally heard back from them. So he said he had to do it ahead of time and something like that. I don't know, I can't remember. And I'm like, no, I need money now. So I'm not gonna play any games or anything like that. But anywho, moving on, I just told them I'm just gonna go to the Department of Labor if you retaliate against me, if you fire me for letting you know that you suck. And they didn't fire me. But they did lock my shit and investigate.
Oh, Lord.
And I just didn't play along. I'm not gonna play along with that. Even though I had all of the receipts, all the screenshots, all the mic recordings. But I'm like, if I've already given you guys that stuff or some of that stuff and you guys are still confused as to what happened and saying, hey, speak to us, let us know what's going on if you're okay. Nope. So I first disappeared from work, then they locked my shit. And I know I have technically a case. I could go report them for retaliation. I could get unemployment. I'm not gonna do it. But anyways, so the point I'm trying to make is on the screen here. I finished the assessment. Jobs make you do assessments. Gag. But I looked back and I was like, it is important not to be rushed in your work. And just before that it asked, do I prefer fast pace at work? It important not to be rushed. I already know what they're trying to do. They want me to fall into a certain algorithm. Because this is like any kind of quiz, it's a quiz. So if you take a quiz on BuzzFeed to know which Powerpuff Girl are you. And if you pick your favorite color is green, it doesn't matter how you answered any of the other shit they're gonna give you. They're gonna match you with Buttercup. If you take the Harry Potter sorting hat quiz, I always got Gryffindor. I changed one answer not to test them, but because that day I changed the instrument that I used to put Fluffy to sleep, and I got Ravenclaw. Everything else was the same, so that's what this quiz is. One thing that's off, I could fail or not get hired. Now if there's a human being looking at this, and they're the ones determining my score based on a printout of what I've chosen, which I doubt, then they're fucking retards.
Oh Lord.
Because they even think that these fucking questions are useful. Now, if it's a computer, the computer is going to pretty much fail you. Or pass you. Mostly fail you on like one thing, and then there is completely disagree. Strongly disagree, disagree neutral, agree strongly agree, completely agree. There is 7 things that you can pick for one stupid question, and this is a gaslighting question. This is why I left the workforce in the first place. Because it's a stupid fucking question. First of all, it's important not to be rushed is a totally different statement than I prefer fast-paced or I work really fast. It's related. But it's totally different. Fast. It's fast. Rushed is 2 different things. The fastest person on the planet can be rushed. Because rushed means you're going beyond your capabilities the moment you're performing this task. Even the fastest person, if you're an Olympian, someone can literally give you a run for your money. If they're fast, or if they're faster than you, guess what you're going to do? You're going to rush, and then that's guess what's going to happen to you. You're going to end up in the hospital, you're going to hurt yourself. And you're a fucking Olympian. So a fast worker at a computer can be rushed. Just because I say I don't want to be rushed, it doesn't mean that I lied about being fast. However, that's the one issue I have. The next issue that I have is if I pick disagree, that means I want the company to fire me if I get rushed to make a mistake. Because if you get rushed, that means you're performing something without the preparation, knowledge, or resources while you're on the call or doing the actual task, whether it's a call or not, and you're going to be breaking compliance. Probably some laws. You're going to be breaking policy, quality standards, and so you're gonna piss the customer off. So now you're gonna fail your CSAT score. And then if you're a third party representing a first party product or service, who has you representing them as customer service, then at the third party company you're breaking that client's policies as well and probably whatever laws they follow. So if you represent a bank card but you're not working for a bank, you're working for a customer service company that helps that bank, you're fucking up the laws of the bank as well as compliance of them and of your actual employer. So you're fucking up all over the place. What company would want a culture of people being rushed and fucking up? Maybe a company that doesn't want employee longevity to avoid paying raises or unionizing. Cough.
Oh Lord.
So guess what they're going to do if you fuck up? They're just gonna fire you. So they want you to be rushed and they want you to select agree that you should be, but they're gonna fire you if you mess up being rushed at the pace that they created. Like we're gonna rush you. But we're gonna fire you for rushing because that's what they're going to do. They're not going to lose their contract, and they're not going to get sued. They're going to be like, this employee did it. We'll deal with it. We'll fire them. So they don't want someone who doesn't like to be rushed. Even though every person on the planet, even the motherfucker looking over this application and who probably created this fucking assessment, does not want to be rushed. Everyone is going to agree it is important not to be rushed in your work. Everyone's going to agree with that. But they don't want you to say that. And so that's another issue I have. These companies act like they're creating a new generation, a new workplace culture with applicants, and they're not. Because the reality is that these new people being hired are just railroaded to fit into a culture that doesn't change because their companies aren't changing, and you'll get pushed out or fired for not fitting in. They're not changing. They're doing the same shit that they were doing in 1983. They're not changing. They probably have the same CEO or the same HR person, the same supervisor has been working there since before I've been alive. I've heard, I've been in jobs and they're like I've been here 25 years. And I'm like, you've been here 25 fucking years? I know some people are like, that's the job I want. I don't have to ever look for another job again. It's still kind of pathetic cause you have one life to live and you're living it for one job rotting and wasting away. So that's the issue I have with that, and it took me 30 minutes to answer, and I just put neutral because I said I'm not putting disagree even though that's what they want. I'm not putting that. I'm not putting agree because I know that's not what they want. So I'm just going to jump at neutral. I'm just putting neutral all over the place. In this one I avoid correcting my boss when I know he or she is wrong, but the question above it is I will agree with my boss to prevent a confrontation. I already know what they're doing. The computer thinks that they're just switching it up like they're asking the same thing, and that's not what they're doing. These are two totally different questions. So ideally they want you to answer the same way for both questions. However, I agree with one. I will agree with my boss to prevent a confrontation. If it's preventing a confrontation, I will agree. Then this one is I avoid correcting my boss when I know he or she is wrong. I have to disagree that I would avoid that. That means it's not about an opinion, it's about a fact. But the computer isn't rationalizing or intellectualizing it in this way. They're grading me to see what algorithm I fall into based on how close I come to the answer sheet that the reactionary dullard who created these questions programmed.
Oh, Lord.
This person who made the assessment probably has never even been with coworkers or had a boss. They're an independent website maker. That's like the other bullshit about it. They're just sitting around in their boxers doing coding when they feel like it with porn in the other tab.
Oh,
They don't have a
Lord.
boss, they don't have coworkers. They have a client. So this person doesn't understand the reality of the workplace. And I will agree with my boss if my boss says that they like cherry donut. I don't even know what a cherry donut is. I'm just making that up if they say they like cherry donuts. I'm not going to say I hate those. That's like an obvious. No, don't do that. I will say agree. I agree. If you like cherry donuts, boss, I like cherry donuts. I mean, that's what I'll get the assessment to think when in reality, I'm gonna be like, what's that? But the assessment? I'll say yeah, I'll agree with them. To prevent a confrontation. Whatever. But if they're wrong, if they're like confusing accounts, like if they say Harriet paid $300 yesterday and I'm like, no. That's the wrong account. Not quite sure who Harriet is. We're looking at Darren. Darren paid the $300. And he paid it late or something like that. I will mention that. I'm not going to sit there and be like no. And I'm not gonna sit there and just let them be wrong. Well, I probably should, I probably should sit there and let them just take the blame.
Oh,
I probably
Lord.
should. And so I could put agree like I avoid correcting my boss. And I know he or she is wrong. Let them be wrong, let them embarrass himself. So I just put neutral because it doesn't make any sense and I'm not going to agree with something or disagree if it doesn't make any sense. Especially because I know that they aren't actually asking me if I avoid correcting my boss, and I know he or she is wrong. They just want to know, are you someone who lets your boss do what they want? They're looking for a disagree. I'm just going to stay neutral. And there was another question that said people should take time out of work to help their coworkers. People shouldn't. But you know
Oh,
what they want you to
Lord.
say? They want you to say yes. They want you to say yes, I will stop doing what I have to do in the name of productivity. Even though my work won't be done, no one on the planet is going to agree with that. No one on the planet. The only person who will agree with that is someone who constantly needs someone to take time from their work to help them. So that's my issue. I'm like, are you trying to see if I share that mentality to see if I need people to help me? Because I don't. So then I would say disagree. But then are you looking for a team player and who does the supervisor's job for them and who contributes? In that regard, I should say, agree. And because I already know it could fall either way, I put neutral. Because I don't give a fuck is my mentality.
Oh,
I don't have a
Lord.
mentality. I don't give a shit. They're asking questions that like I don't give a fuck about. If someone needs help with their work, I don't give a fuck. Especially working remote, I can't help you. I'm over here in this state and you're in that state. How do I help? You over the computer? I can't help you. I can leave a quick answer. But then here's the issue. If you help someone with their work, and you're on a call, you're taking time off of your job. And so again, the company doesn't care if you fuck up your job. Just like they don't care if you rush. And they want you to be rushed and they want you to do their job for them and help employees instead of them training people properly or giving them the help that they need or improving your systems or your resources. You don't want that. So you just want employees to take it upon themselves to fix all the problems of the company and you guys can just sit in la la land. So they want people to agree and say people should take time off of work to help their coworkers, even if that means you will fuck up your own job. My
Oh,
thing is, if
Lord.
I'm not doing my job and I'm doing theirs, then that's 1 out of 2 people being productive. So 50% of productivity is down. Now if I ignore them when they need help and focus on my job, then that means they're not doing their job because they don't know what they're doing. So that's still 50%. I mean, I have the two of us. So either way, it's 50% productivity. Someone's not gonna do their job. So it doesn't help, but again, the computer doesn't see it that way. Neither does the adult who created the fucking assessment. Because they probably aren't one of those people who doesn't have teammates, and I mean good for them. But that's the issue. This is why I left the workforce. People who have no clue or care about it hiring and firing and recruiting. The only reason I'm coming back is because it's the end of year and I'm not used to being without an income during the holiday season. And that's what they're recruiting for now. They're going to start in September as so everyone does. I've been through this before. They're going to recruit all summer, start in September. Finish training in October. Now you're ready for the busiest time of the year. So that's what they're doing. And I've never not had an income during the busiest time of the year. I still have money saved or whatever, but I would like an extra income. Anyway, this is gonna be a 2-part video because I only can do 15-minute videos. This is 27 minutes. So yeah, basically these stupid fucking assessments can go to hell.
Oh,
They think they're
Lord.
narrowing out people who are just not worthy. Meanwhile, they're acting stupid. And the thing is, I wouldn't be working from home if I wasn't in my situation. Like I'll just say I've had 20 jobs. I even made a chart of all like a little map and I marked off wherever I've worked. And in the past 5 years, literally, I've had 20 jobs and in
Oh, Lord.
2022 I've had 3. And I've already had one this year. 90% of that is because I was working and living in a big city where there were jobs everywhere that I ambitiously applied to, interviewed for and ditched the current company for, and now I live where I need a car. And I have anxiety, so I fucked up driving less lessons and tests and almost ran people over LOL. and just waste money and time. So I have to work from home. It's not because I'm unemployable. Clearly because I've convinced 20 of probably the country's biggest companies to hire me. But all of that was in person. And then the other 10% would be remote work in the past year. You know, those companies were, like, fucking stressing me out. They're fucking stupid as fuck sending computers that don't work. One company had the nerve to send a computer without the parts. The first work-from-home company. And they had a little package receipt. It wasn't like the actual receipt from UPS or FedEx or whatever, it was their little print-out checklist of what I owe them if anything is missing, which is so funny because the stuff on the checklist wasn't even in the box, so I didn't even
Oh,
start the job.
Lord.
I cussed them out. And I still went into training, 'cause I'm like, y'all are wrong, and I'm just gonna be bold and come to training, and then they saw me. And they pulled me out of training. And it's so funny because they paid me for training. They should have just told me not to come in before training, like, whatever, but it's on the first day of training, they pulled me out of training. And it was so ridiculous because it wasn't even training. It was just literally everyone was unprepared to start. They didn't set up their shit. They had broken computers and smashed screens. And this is for like one of the biggest work-from-home companies. Like, if you Google work from home, their name would come up. Well, they changed their name for interesting reasons, I'm sure. And then I went to the company that I worked for months representing Apple. And they pissed me off. And so I just disappeared from work. And said fuck you guys, and I got another job that had a working computer. As far as I thought. But they didn't send a keyboard.
Oh,
Now that's really
Lord.
funny. But whatever. So I just used my own keyboard and then everything was fine. Because we practice with chat. And I was obviously blazing through chat like I can chat. But it's not just chatting, it was looking at their bank information. Yada yada. But answering them through chat. But then the rest of training was taking calls and the last one went to hell. No one could hear me. I have to prove it to IT. Who are these dullard nasty assholes from India?
Oh, Lord.
Now I'm not saying Indians are dullard, nasty assholes, but all of the IT people were from India and they were all dullard, nasty assholes. So I don't know if that's about maybe because I'm a female and they don't like women. I don't know what's going on, but they were all nasty assholes and I had to eventually tell them that they're dirt nasty assholes. And I said, this is the computer you guys sent me. So don't give me an attitude because I'm back again, because you guys said you fixed it and you didn't. So I just disappeared from that job as well, and I just in a numb way, mailed the equipment back with the return label that they gave the day that it came. So I didn't even tell them I'm returning it, but I did send HR an lengthy email about everyone who sucks, named and shamed. They said that they're going to get back in touch with me. I'm so sorry, and I just fucking ignored them. I didn't respond. I just sent the equipment back. And that's just the shit that I have to go through.